9. Joseph Hoadley. Earlier this year, reports from Boise-based news station KTVB revealed that the FBI was investigating the nearby Caldwell Police Department on suspicions of sexual misconduct and the mistreatment of drug crime suspects. The investigation was sparked by allegations that a high-ranking officer had intimate relations with a victim who was on drugs at the time and went along with the act in exchange for not being taken to jail. Another officer, Lieutenant Joseph Hoadley, was accused of punching a non-combative handcuffed suspect and falsifying his report of the incident with claims that the individual was trying to escape. Hoadley claimed that he used necessary force in his report. The allegations stemmed from an incident in 2017 when Hoadley and 3 other officers searched a home after smelling marijuana from outside. A 4th officer declined to participate in the search because he believed it was unlawful. The suspect, known as BH, verbally protested his arrest, stating that the officers had searched his home without a warrant. However, he cooperated with all their commands and did not resist. While escorting BH to his vehicle, Hoadley reportedly told him that he wasn't very good at caring for his elderly mother. The suspect responded by telling Hoadley that he wasn't very good at being a police officer, which prompted Hoadley to punch the man in the face just moments later. The feds were shown videos of Hoadley allegedly using excessive force on other suspects in the past, indicating a disturbing pattern of abuse of power. Hoadley lost his job and faces 4 federal charges, including deprivation of rights under color of law and destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in a federal investigation, as well as tampering with documents. In addition to wiping evidence from his laptop and other devices before turning them over to be searched, Hoadley is accused of tampering with a witness by harassment. He allegedly cornered a low-ranking officer who had been speaking with the FBI and implied that the man's career would be threatened if he didn't remain loyal to his superior. If convicted, Hoadley faces up to 30 years in prison and fines of up to $500,000. 8. Nathan Meyer. In early 2019, a woman in Aurora, Colorado noticed an unresponsive officer inside an idling, unmarked police car in the middle of a road and dialed 911. Firefighters found Nathan Meyer slumped over in the driver's seat and ended up having to smash the passenger side window in order to get to him. As officers worked to remove his vest, belt, and weapons, they noticed a faint smell of alcohol. A blood test revealed that Meyer's blood alcohol content was more than 5 times the legal limit. During an internal investigation, he confessed to going home during his shift and drinking vodka straight from the bottle. He was only demoted for his actions. However, the boozy cop's colleagues opted not to carry out a criminal investigation, and he was never charged with DUI. This led many to accuse the Aurora Police Department of showing favoritism toward the officer. After all, the customary thing to do when someone is suspected of drunk driving is to thoroughly investigate the matter to determine if they should be criminally charged. Yet that never happened with Meyer. Officials pushed for an investigation, but by the time the matter landed in a state prosecutor's hands, there was almost no useful evidence against him. The fact that no search warrants were ever issued for Meyer's blood sample meant that medical records from that day were also inadmissible in court. Former Regional District Attorney George Brauchler agreed with widespread suspicions that the department made moves to protect Meyer, but declined to pursue charges without evidence to support his claims. Meyer continues to work as an Aurora police officer and has gone completely unpunished by the law that he has sworn to protect. 7. Kim Potter. Less than a year after the death of George Floyd at the hands of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, an officer from the nearby Brooklyn Center Police Department fell under scrutiny for yet another killing of an unarmed black man. Kim Potter, a 26-year veteran of the force, was one of the cops present at the scene on April 11, 2021. Officers pulled 20-year-old Dante Wright over for an expired registration, but things quickly spiraled out of control. During the traffic stop, they learned that there was an outstanding warrant for the young man's arrest for failing to appear in court for some previous charges. Body cam footage later showed Wright struggling with the officer who was attempting to take him into custody, and Potter was heard repeatedly yelling, "Taser, taser," as a warning that she was about to use hers. She deployed the device, only to realize that she had accidentally used her gun instead. Within seconds, Wright was shot twice, and he unfortunately died at the scene. Potter resigned from her position shortly after the incident and was charged in connection with Wright's death. She was convicted of first- and second-degree manslaughter and received a 2-year sentence, which included 16 months of prison time and the remainder on supervised release. Wright's parents were left feeling disappointed, angry, and cheated by what they felt was a slap on the wrist for Potter. And it's understandable, even if Potter truly didn't mean to kill the young man, she was responsible, and her actions took him away from his family. She apologized to Wright's loved ones at her sentencing, but her words did little to ease their pain over the young man's needless death. 6. Darwin Fontenot. 21-year-old Darwin Fontenot was working as a police officer in Port Barre, Louisiana in 2020 when a woman he had recently pulled over for speeding accused him of offering leniency in exchange for intimacy. The alleged victim accused Fontenot of forcing her to go along with the agreement, but Fontenot claimed that the encounter was consensual. He also said that it didn't happen during his shift and that the pair met up after he finished working that day. But the young officer's superiors remained concerned about the accusation that Fontenot used his power as a police officer to barter with a young woman for physical favors. They charged him with third-degree rape, which is defined in Louisiana as an inappropriate interaction between a figure of authority and a person in their custody. Fontenot bonded out of jail and was placed on administrative leave. A few weeks later, he spoke publicly on the case, once again claiming that the encounter was consensual. This time, he clarified that the interaction between him and the woman had nothing to do with the traffic stop, and that at no time did he make the citation or anything related to it contingent upon receiving favors. Fontenot further explained that he gave the woman a break after pulling her over and realizing that she had a switched license plate, which she could have gone to jail for. But he said that he did it because she has kids, and as a parent himself, he sympathized with her situation and didn't want to separate her from her children. In a shocking twist, Fontenot also claimed that he gave the woman a citation and that she offered to be intimate with him if he made the ticket go away completely. He said that he told her no and that his biggest mistake was mixing his work and personal lives, but that he did nothing criminal and planned to fight the charges and clear his name. Unfortunately, the outcome of the case is unclear. 5. Annette Brooke. Officer Annette Brooke of the Aurora Police Department in Colorado crashed into a concrete highway barrier just months after one of her colleagues was found passed out drunk in a patrol car in early 2019. Her blood alcohol level measured at nearly 3 times the legal limit. But she was not charged with a DUI. Brooke continued working as a cop while the case worked its way through the court system. Just 6 months later, in December 2019, her coworkers noticed that she appeared to be drunk when she arrived for her morning shift. A breathalyzer measured a blood alcohol content of 0.13, which is well over the legal limit for driving in the state. A blood test confirmed the breathalyzer's measurement and revealed the presence of a narcotic sleep aid called Zolpidem in the cop's system. Brooke reportedly claimed that she hadn't drank that morning, but she had 2 alcoholic beverages the night before. Despite the evidence strongly indicating that she had driven to her job drunk, her superiors declined to pursue a criminal investigation. The incident was instead treated as an internal issue, and charges were never brought against Brooke, who decided to retire amid ongoing controversy over her alleged conduct. 4. Bruce Dyker. Nikita Brown was walking her dog in Chicago's Lincoln Park in 2021 when a police officer later identified as Bruce Dyker told her that the park was closed and to leave. Body cam footage later showed Brown cautiously backing away and repeatedly telling Dyker to give her some space. He continued walking toward her, yelling that she was going in the opposite direction of the exit and threatening to handcuff her if she didn't leave the park. While making her way toward the exit, Brown briefly stopped and turned around with her phone in her hand. Dyker attempted to grab the phone and then proceeded to tackle her to the ground, knocking her out of her shoes. The physical altercation lasted for at least a minute before the officer relented and allowed Brown to leave the park. Nikita accused Dyker of attacking her for absolutely no reason in what her lawyer described as a classic case of racial profiling. The disgraced cop resigned from the police force in May and was charged the following month with misconduct and aggravated battery in public. He pleaded not guilty, and the case is still ongoing. After news of the confrontation broke, Brown's attorney revealed that Dyker had been accused of misconduct 24 times throughout his 2-decade law enforcement career. The reports include allegations of misuse of force, false arrest, and verbal abuse, suggesting that his disturbing behavior toward Brown may not have been an isolated incident. 3. Joshua Teeples. After 2 of his fellow officers made news headlines earlier in the year for drunk driving allegations in Colorado, Aurora police officer Joshua Teeples was accused of committing a drunk hit-and-run in nearby Castle Rock in August 2019. He was apparently off duty when he got behind the wheel after having too much to drink and barreled through a red light. He then crashed into a car and caused it to hit another vehicle. Teeples fled the scene, but Castle Rock officers soon caught up with him at his home. They smelled alcohol on his breath and noticed that his eyes were bloodshot and watery, and that his speech was slurred. After refusing a roadside sobriety test, as well as a breath or blood test, prosecutors said that the officer who booked Teeples described his behavior as extremely belligerent. According to officials, the suspect also reportedly said that rules are meant to be bent. Teeples lost his job shortly after the arrest. He pleaded guilty to driving under the influence, failure to report an accident, and careless driving, and was sentenced to 18 months of probation. The judge also ordered Teeples to attend therapy, perform community service, and pay court costs and fines. 2. Matthew Buckley. When someone contacted the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Department in California's Bay Area with allegations that one of their own was involved in illegal firearms, Sheriff David Livingston immediately initiated an investigation. He was disappointed when the findings yielded incriminating evidence against 41-year-old Matthew Buckley, who had received the department's Top Duty Award 2 consecutive years in a row. For now, the details of the investigation and allegations against Buckley are being kept mostly under wraps. A spokesperson did reveal that the evidence had been collected from the deputy's home and that he was recently booked into a local jail on suspicion of 2 felony counts of grand theft of a firearm. He was also charged with 2 counts of receiving stolen property, felony unlicensed transfer of a firearm, filing a false report, destroying, concealing evidence, and possession of a controlled substance. Buckley posted $175,000 bail and is on administrative leave while the case plays out. The district attorney has yet to file formal charges. In the meantime, the sheriff's office is working to build the strongest case that they can. In a statement, Sheriff Livingston cited the case as a reminder that nobody is above the law and that those caught violating it will be held accountable, including his employees. 1. John Moreland. In 2021, 41-year-old Aurora Police Sergeant John Moreland became the fourth member of his department to make news headlines for allegedly driving drunk over a 2-year period. Denver police pulled him over for failing to stay in his lane and quickly noticed telltale signs of intoxication. His eyes were bloodshot, he had difficulty maintaining his balance, he had slurred speech, and there was an odor of alcohol on him. Moreland fled on foot, but came back to the scene a few minutes later and was charged with DWI, obstructing a police officer, and veering out of a traffic lane. His superiors at the Aurora Police Department put him on paid administrative leave and issued a statement declining to comment on the allegations. A spokesperson said that Moreland would likely remain on leave until his case was dealt with in court and an internal affairs investigation was completed. The arrest came 5 years after a previous alcohol-related run-in with the law. In 2016, Moreland was accused of being in possession of a gun while drunk, with a blood alcohol content more than twice the legal limit. He was charged with a misdemeanor, but the case was ultimately dismissed. The outcome of Moreland's most recent case is unclear, but it appears as though he's still working as an officer. The number of Aurora officers who've been accused of driving drunk in recent years is undeniably alarming, and the department's response to some of these cases has proven to be equally concerning. However, there are nearly 750 officers working for the city of Aurora, and these alcohol-related cases don't necessarily reflect the department's values. There have been a number of acting police chiefs throughout the controversial cases, some of whom have admitted to the department's mishandling of past cases. New policies have since been initiated to prevent history from continuing to repeat itself. Thanks for watching. Would you rather live in a remote area, miles from the nearest police station, where you'd have to wait quite a while for help if you needed it? Or in a small town that's known for having a notoriously corrupt police force? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time.